Sam awakened from a nightmare. He was dripping with sweat and gasping for air, frightened beyond belief. These nightmares have been plaguing his nights for about a week now, leaving him no room for a peaceful evening. As he sat there on his bed, he knew he wouldn't be able to go back to sleep, so he checked his phone, forwarded some messages to his secretary, and went to get some coffee. On the way there, he examined his watch. It read 4 a.m. A sigh escaped him. At least he won't be too tired for work, as if he's doing much of it anyways. The robotics and nanotech company he'd been running for the past 10 years had lately been practically operating itself, with him watching from the sidelines, hoping for any mishap to occur so he can come in and save the day. Much to his dismay, things were going perfectly. Sam was a man who wanted some excitement in his life, and although the one he was in was certainly luxurious and worry-free, it was also quite boring, and at times even felt depressed. Sadly, every time he had contemplated this, he always brushed it aside with the thought that it was better living a quaint life than a hardy and reckless one. This is why he was sitting in his dim kitchen, drinking a strong black coffee, and peacefully waiting for dawn to break. He picked up his phone and scrolled through Twitter, mindlessly looking at tidbits of news here and there, without much interest. This continued for a while, and soon he exhausted all there is to see, so he hit refresh on the page. He expected more dull news, but to his surprise, a tweet had caught his attention. A second later, he was amused, thinking it was definitely a conspiracy nerd who thought it up. But when he read the comments and saw how much feedback it had gotten, he read it again, and again. Finally, he realized this wasn't fake, so he called his secretary. She'll probably be awake by now, he thought to himself, completely dismissing the fact that it was 4:30 in the morning. Hey Jane, are you awake? Asked Sam. He expected a tired yawn from the other end, but instead was blasted by frantic babbling. Yes, I'm awake, Mr. Hill. Did you find out about the news? I was just about to call you. I certainly saw it, and I thought it was a hoax. Now I'm not so sure. Same here, sir. I'm really worried that if this is true, it will completely ruin us, maybe even shut us down. Now, don't come to any conclusions. This will probably die down within a week, and everything will remain the same. Alright, I guess I shouldn't have been so worried. Goodbye, Mr. Hill. Goodbye, Jane. The line clicked, and the room went silent again. Even with those reassuring words he had uttered, there was still a seed of doubt in his mind, and he didn't think it would go away anytime soon. The tweet was about a handful of protests that practically sparked overnight, all with huge crowds chanting the words, "Cancel technology." This wouldn't have been so startling, except if it wasn't backed up by a recent scientific breakthrough, with its sole backing point directly threatening his business. He sat there for a minute, unsure of what to do, so he reread the article again. Imagine this, 100 years from now, we are living in a world of utmost comfort and bliss. No worries, no dilemmas, just humanity having a grand old time. We keep developing and inventing and doing what humans do best, progress. We can't seem to find a barrier, so we continue forwards, conquering every disease and every problem until one day we look at ourselves and marvel at our own ingenuity. But alongside that, we notice something that was there before but is no longer a part of us, our humanity. A recent discovery by a group of ethical and scientific experts has shown that if the alarming rate of technological advances continues, humanity will be no more than a scrap of metal, bunched up by wires and devoid of any emotions or empathy. It may seem laughable now, but the evidence is concrete. Soon, people will find no purpose and will resort to unorthodox ways to bring that back. At first, we would laugh and laugh at the idea that technology would destroy what it meant to be human, until we see it in front of us. Mass genocide, ruthless dictators of the past reincarnated in an even more destructive form, technology used in the most disgusting of ways. Forget about the most gruesome applications of it today. If technology were to prosper even more, the name itself would bring fear to the hearts of children, and for those who would live to experience it, it would conjure dreadful memories of corpses reincarnated, AI deceiving those who mourn by impersonating their dead loved ones' voices, and worse yet, parents killing their own children for the sole reason that they didn't have the desired qualities they required. People would turn to nothing more than goods you could buy at a store, only defined by their IQ or strength or special qualities. Racism would gain a new meaning. All would burn to hell. This is what the researchers have uncovered. This is what could come to reality. And so with that, we warn our fellow humans. Wake up and see what the world is coming to. Technology is growing, and we must kill it. As soon as those last words had escaped his lips, a cold chill coursed through his body. He was shaken by this radical new idea that was brought to fruition. He still held his ground though, and brushed away the heavy fog that surrounded his thoughts and put his mind to rest. The following day, he woke up to a loud ringing noise. He stumbled around blindly, found his glasses, and answered the phone. Hello, Mr. Hill, this is urgent. Please switch on the TV. Jane, alright, I'll do that. Sam stumbled across to his living room and turned the TV on. He was blasted by the rapid chattering of a news reporter, who was trying to keep calm in spite of his apparent distress. Breaking news. After a controversial article released yesterday, a group referring to themselves as the Sleepless have managed to spark a raging fire of angered crowds, all with one purpose: to cancel technology. At first, these were few and numbered, but as of now, this group's message has reached so many in such short notice. The Sleepless have achieved to do something remarkable: convince humanity to agree on something, and as of now, authorities are still debating whether it is of good nature or not. The main goal of this group is to halt all technological advances and remove those that may be fatal to our humanity. Many speculate that their goal will be accomplished in no time, and few others hope that this will merely be another of the world's failed attempts for good-natured change. To Sam's dismay, the former had become reality, and in the next few months, the world had experienced a radical revolution. The President of the United States had declared that all technological advances will be halted, including medicine, robotics, and AI. It pained the President to declare this to his country, but it wasn't his choice, for the battle on his temple was too close to his brain to allow his heart to make any decisions. Eventually, all the other authority figures of the globe followed suit, all persuaded in less than conventional means. The group had garnered influence over most of the world's governments, all supported by the billions that shared their ideology. Soon, Earth became a stagnant field, filled with people who share a content life and thank their stars that the worst had been narrowly avoided. Surprisingly, uprisings had been far and few in between, those that grew in importance being quickly silenced. Sam sat through all of this, his head in his hands, unable to do anything about the matter. Soon, his company went bankrupt, his house sold, and his secretary fired. He wasn't the only one that was in the same situation, but you try telling him that when all of his emotions were either anger, infuriation, or despair. Suicide even visited his mind, making a home for itself and festering in there, persuading him to join its depressing path. But he won't let it have him. Not now. He started to fall asleep in his cold, barren studio apartment, and as his eyes began to close and his heart settled into its familiar pattern, Sam muttered one final thing into the empty room. Technology is dead, and we have killed it. Well, that was a long and lazy 6 months, but I finally got this thing out. I originally planned to draw original art for all the frames, but that just wasn't feasible. As you may have noticed, there is no music, and that's partly because I'm lazy and partly because of Alt-Shift-X's Altomore's video, which also didn't have music, so yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the story despite its far-fetched premise, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like so I can make more stories like this. Bye-bye.